The West Virginia Mountaineers continue to land players in the portal, even late in the process. And this one is a big time pass rusher with a lot of length and a lot of speed.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
What is up? Welcome in, guys. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host. This is Locked On West Virginia. Thank you guys very much for being in here and being awesome. Okay, what is going on? Well, West Virginia continues to land guys in the transfer portal. And I'll be honest, wasn't expecting it today, but today's a good day, right? As always. And Keenan Eck, a 6'5" chiseled phenom, really. I got to be honest, man. This guy looks like he should be in a cage. He's like a cage fighter, man. Like, seriously. He looks like some of those guys you see in the heavyweight division that are nothing but muscle. That's what this guy looks like, man. He is a stud. And let's talk a little bit about what he is. So I don't know what his role is going to be on this team, but I can tell you what he does really well on the field. First of all, he's a super athlete. I don't know. You see some say 6'5", some say 6'4", some say 6'3". I'm not exactly sure which one of those he is, because on Rivals it says 6'4". I think his X profile says 6'5". Right here it says 6'3". So we'll call him 6'4". I think that's fair. That's still a big guy. 235, probably too closer to 240 now. And he's been in JUCO this past year. 26 tackles, 10.5 sacks, or tackles for loss, 6 sacks. He was at Black Hills State, which is a similar spot. 13 tackles, 18.5 sacks, or 8.5 sacks, sorry, and 4 forced fumbles. And that's one of his best attributes. When he gets to the ball, he knocks the ball and dislodges it. As a matter of fact, one of my very favorite highlights that he has is one where he comes off the edge and absolutely crushes the quarterback. Really. It's insane to me that the speed and power he comes off the edge with didn't kill this guy, man. Like, seriously, it's one of his highlights on his X page. But he absolutely comes off with reckless abandon and bad intentions. He's a nasty guy, which we like. That song, what's that song you hear on social media sometimes? I am a nasty girl. That's kind of what he's like, man, coming off the edge, except we'll put guy in there. So, in my opinion, two things he does extremely well is he's got a really good first step coming off the edge. A lot of times if you're a slow-footed tackle, he's going to have the edge on you coming around. On that break around the edge, he shows some really good bend, surprisingly, in the knees and hips, and is able to, a lot of times, beat tackles around the edge. He's got long arms, so he's able to keep tackles' hands off of him as he comes around the edge. And then if he gets stifled coming around the edge, he can transfer speed into power and use those really, really long arms that he has. And I mean, they're really long. I don't know what they measure in at, but just looking at it on the screen, his arms are long, man. So he's able to get into the tackle before they get their hands on them. And that's the name of the game. Get your hands on the other guy, get the leverage. And he's able to drive and get down and drive cats into the quarterback. He does it quite a bit. He's got this outside move, which he does a lot, but he can transfer real quick into power, which is what they call a bull rush or speed to power, as they like to call it. And it's an advanced pass rushing technique. It really is. And I mean, one of the first things they teach you when you're a defensive end is how to counter that back to the inside, right? Those the footwork, the leverage, where you're supposed to be, what shoulder you're supposed to be on, those kind of things. And he does those things really well. especially the counter back to the inside. Not only can he go to power from there, but he can also attack that left shoulder. If it's a right tackle, he can attack that left shoulder and beat guys to the inside on running plays, on quarterbacks that are stepping up into the pocket. He does it really well, man. And even though at the JUCO level, it's kind of hard to tell, without knowing more about these guys, what, if any, Power 4, even Group of 5 players he went against without doing more research. But there are good players at that level, and there's a reason he was being courted by quite a few teams here. So what is it that you look at when you look at a guy like Keenan Eck that makes you excited? Well, like I said, it's the length, it's the pursuit. And that's another thing. The motor on this guy is really good. He's got great pursuit. He takes good angles to players. And to me, that's something that Rich Rod and company are really looking for, is Keenan Eck, is he an elite athlete? I wouldn't say elite. I would say he's a very good athlete coming off the edge. So what he makes up for is that motor. He kind of reminds me of Bobby Boucher a little bit, right? But not in a bad way. He is truly one of those kind of guys that you look at and is like, man, I used to play with a guy named Travis Storms in school, and he was he was outmatched a lot. He played guard. He was probably 5'7", 160, 70 pounds. But was he strong? Yes, he was. Did he have try hard in him? Would he quit? No, he wouldn't. Everybody knows the guy in high school that was too small to play guard that got thrown in at guard for whatever reason, because maybe they weren't the greatest athlete. So he's obviously quick. Don't know about in the pass game. I don't think he'll be I would love for this to be more. Maybe he comes to West Virginia and packs on 30 pounds and becomes inside D tackle. I don't know what if they're going to put him at linebacker, maybe shed a few pounds. He's at 235, which is probably fine. And I don't know what he does, from a pass, defending the pass, right? I'm not really sure. I didn't see a lot of that on film, so it kind of leads you to a couple jumps in just where I have to make assumptions without asking him. And I did talk to him, and I do have something he wants to say. Well, I asked him to say something. And I don't know if he wants to be a package guy or if he's happy with that. Maybe in year one he'll be happy with that, but because I haven't seen much on the field as far as, like I said, covering the pass. His leverage can be better at times. Like if I'm going to get critical at all, sometimes his leverage is a little off. I think he gets ahead of himself sometimes. But man, he is versatile. He is, like I said. And I'm sure they're going to use him in coverage. I mean, I'm not saying he can't do it. I just haven't seen it. So that's going to be another thing that you look for. And hopefully we'll hear from Zach Alley and company, in my opinion anyway. So, and look, he's a guy that's got a lot of snaps under his belt as far as just playing football. And I think, you look at him, you look at Siders, you look at other guys West Virginia's brought in. Hopefully Jamori Robinson can come in. This pass rush can end up being really, really underrated. I'll be honest, man. Can you imagine Siders and Eck rotating in and out on pass rushers and Jamori Robinson on the other side, a bona fide NFL guy, right? 6'5", 250 pounds. If we can land him, which is an update that I have to give you next on Locked On West Virginia. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is brought to you by FanDuel. From the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs even more exciting. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets. That's $300 if you win your first bet, $300 to keep the action going. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300, guys. That's best you can ask for, really. The FanDuel app is easy to navigate, and a variety of bets keep every game exciting. Plus, when you win, you get paid instantly. No waiting around for your winnings. Whether you're betting on your favorite team or just looking to add extra excitement to the playoffs, FanDuel has you covered. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today and get started with $300 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the National Football League. All right. So before we move on here, go on, honey. My cat. She's always getting into the picture these days, isn't she? So I think, man, Jamori Robinson continues to push this back. And, I think this is a situation where a lot of people are speculating a lot on it. Like I said, I was plugged in there, especially in the beginning. There had been a pause in that contact, and then finally got back into contact with some people. And as you saw, I think I saw Voice of Morgantown posted today. Yeah, that's who it was, that he had postponed his commitment announcement till tomorrow again. That is true. I was able to also independently confirm that outside of it, which is great. But I think Baum had that first. I mean, I didn't see it anywhere else first. So I always give people credit where it's due, and I think he's been on that. So a lot of people don't like him and what he does and stands for, but he's been on the Jamori Robinson stuff. So I would pay attention to what he says regarding this player, because I've double checked a few things to see. I do it with everybody if I have a chance, so I'm not always in contact with everybody. But I think, man, this is a guy that West Virginia could do with, and is as important a portal prospect that I can never remember us going after. And I'm not making a huge leap there to say that. I mean, Will Greer is definitely probably the number one on the list as far as all time. But like, if you want to put this guy in, Bruce Urban was a JUCO guy. He's probably right there in the top 5, top 3. This guy would be right there with Bruce Urban, in my opinion, as an important piece for us to get. Like, I'm being dead serious, man. I am in love with Jamori Robinson tape. I don't think we just don't get bodies like this. Like, this guy should have been at USC this year. This guy should have been at Texas this year. These issues have allowed us and Virginia Tech to be in the race. And let's be honest, man. Virginia Tech's a little bit harder to get into than West Virginia. Not by a lot, but it is. And I think most people are of the belief that West Virginia's trying to get this thing figured out. The deadline's tomorrow, so if it can't happen by tomorrow, then it probably won't happen. So let's see what happens. Now, can it get pushed back to the spring? Absolutely. Can they make an announcement and say, hey, look, we'll do this in the spring? Yeah, but the draft. So I think it's at a crossroads here. He feels like there's more for him to rise up in the draft process on tape. And I think there's some stuff he wants to do against Power 4 opponents. And he hasn't had, the dominant season against great competition he wants to have yet. So at West Virginia or Virginia Tech, you get a chance to do that and prove yourself against good players. And I think he's an NFL pick right now for sure. Here's the thing, though. Virginia Tech and West Virginia both are probably capable of paying him more in 1 year than he would make in the NFL in probably 2 years. So, or close to it. So I think this is one of those situations where NIL wins again. And hopefully we're the winners. So I'm rooting for this to happen for the kid. I think he's a great guy. You listen to him talk. He's very well-mannered. He's got a nasty streak about him. I mean, I love his tape. 10.5 sacks is awesome. And would certainly bring that to us in spades. He's, what he is, he's a really similar to Abdul Carter in some ways. He's not as freakishly athletic as Carter, but as far as from the size, strength combo, this guy has really got it all, man. So I am a fan. Let's just say that. So I was thinking, I did a impact transfer thing yesterday, and I thought, you know what? Did I do it justice, really? Because there were players on the list that people kind of gave me some crap about. And I'll agree that maybe I had – see, as far as impact goes, there's a couple guys on the list that I guess you could make a case that maybe won't be impact players this year. And there was one big glaring one that I missed, which is just my bad, you know. So I was trying to come up with content and I was pressed for time. And so, of course, I missed one, especially, you know. And I think obviously Justin Harrington, the Oklahoma/Washington transfer, is one that, I mean, you could make a case if he were fully healthy, he'd be number one on the list, right? I mean, number two on the list, something like that. This is a guy that started for the Oklahoma Sooners in 2023 at their cheetah position, which is like a slot guy. And he was going to keep that job if he didn't get injured. Unfortunately, he did. So I think this is one of those ones where I think I'm letting his injury kind of cloud my judgment of him. And I shouldn't have done that. I probably should have just took him for what I think he can be, because I think he can be special for us. I really do, especially if he's healthy. That's the thing. I don't know where his health is. So that's kind of one of the things that keep on clouding my judgment a little bit. So unfortunately, that's one that I need to put in the top 5. I'll take Robbie Martin out for now, but don't be surprised, man. He's had a year in a strength and conditioning program. He's a high pedigree player. He's right there with the Wyatt Milam and Zach Frazier of the world as far as how highly rated coming out of the state of West Virginia he was. And our linemen have been really good coming out of West Virginia, the state of West Virginia. So let's keep an eye on it. I'm like I said, I wouldn't be shocked if Robbie doesn't push for some time, man. You know, we'll see. Another one that I think people were going to kind of wondering about was obviously Siders, the Wyoming pass rusher that I'm so high on. And, man, I love that kid. You know, he's another one that's like one of those really high motor but great athletes guys. And, yeah, so – and then Fred Perry. I don't think I had Fred Perry on the list, which is crazy. Or did I? I can't remember exactly, but I did it yesterday, and I didn't write it down. I did it off the top of my head as I just looked over the list. So, you know, that's not exactly the most organized Paul that you're going to get. But, man, I'll double down on Ty Edwards. That's for sure. I think, like I said, Ty Edwards is the most underrated transfer so far of the offseason. That I mean, he's 6'4", touches 4.5 on the gun, could be a little faster. And, man, I love that dude. I think he's going to come in and do well for us. I can see a situation where Jaheim runs for 1,000 yards. Maybe he rushes for 800 yards. And maybe the other kid, Turner, rushes for 500-600 yards as well. So, you know, I love the Ty Edwards pick. He's not a super shifty guy. He is a one-cut, kind of like CJ, one cut and get up the field. But he's a little smoother. I think he's people will kill me for this. I know people will come after me for this. I think he's a better version of CJ Donaldson. Is he as physical as CJ? No. I don't think he's as physical, but he's physical. So I think he's a little bit more of what a more finessed version of CJ would be. And I don't mean that in a like he's soft way. I just mean that in a like he's just a little bit more graceful, just a little, not a ton, just a touch more. And he's also the same size. So that's why I doubled down on him a little bit, man. He is so good. And if you haven't seen Ty Edwards yet from Northern Iowa, you need to go check him out because that dude is awesome. By the way, it was segment 2 when I forgot to crack a do. Tomorrow, or is it today? It'll be today. Where I'm uploading, or not I am, but my company Locked On is uploading a a video here today. It actually may be coming up now or sometime soon today, where we did our squad show. You have to watch this squad show, guys. A lot of the stuff that we talk about on the show, segment 2, we crack a dude. Segment 3, it's Dr. P. A lot of stuff was made. I was getting made fun of on this thing a lot. It was very fun for me. And I just, if you're watching this, watch the West Virginia Squad Show on this channel or any channel. They play in all the channels. Because man, they sure went in on me over my internet connection, and they said it was because I'm from West Virginia, all kinds of different stuff. So check that out, man. I think you guys will have a good laugh at me, and we can all laugh at ourselves from time to time, right? So, all right, guys, let's go to a break. Come back. We'll put a bow on this one. Stick around. This is Locked On West Virginia. And, of course, this episode is going to be brought to you by PrizePicks, the place to get real money sports action with over 10 million winners and billions in winnings. PrizePicks has changed the game in daily fantasy sports. Whether it's the playoffs or regular season, PrizePicks has made it easier than ever to win big while enjoying all football action. Now it's playoff time, and there's no better way to get in on the action than PrizePicks. Here's how it works. You simply more or less pick at least 2 players, and if your pick's it, you win up to 1,000 times your cash. That's right, 1,000 times your money just by betting on a few simple picks. For me, I'm all about hot takes this season, and this week on PrizePicks, I'm looking at Lamar Jackson for more than 250 passing yards and Travis Kelce for more than 70 yards. It's fun to predict and easy to play. Plus, with PrizePicks Flex Play, you can still double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. And with the app, you get your winnings fast, sometimes in as little as 15 minutes. Ready to run your game this football season? Well, download the app today and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's right, just $50 just for playing the game. Don't wait. Take your game to the next level with PrizePicks. At PrizePicks, run your game. It's segment 3. I don't have any Dr. P, but I am here with me, P, Paul, Mountaineer Paul, and I'll be honest, man. The Keenan Eck was well received for me today. I'm a big fan of his. I got to be honest. I know there's a few guys on this list this year that I've been big fans of, but I love these kind of guys. This is like a West Virginia kind of guy, man. That's the first thing I thought of when I saw him. You know, he looks like the Reed Williams of the world. That's what he looks like. He's a gritty, tough, hard-nosed defender that, I think that we lean into more, that we didn't as much under Neil Brown. I think Neil Brown developed his own kind of culture that was separate from what we used to have under Rich Rod and others, even Coach Stu to an extent. So it had already changed because of Dana, and it was kind of like a every man for himself kind of culture under Dana, from what I understand, with guys like Winston Wright and views like that there. That's why he had to go. But and I would tell him that to his face. It's not a big deal. So point being, I think you look at it and say, okay, the culture is changing, and this guy is a huge indicator of it. Wyatt Minor's another one, hard-nosed player. If you haven't seen how West Virginia is setting up, let's say Rich Rod is setting up the pay structure here. If you haven't seen this yet, it's the NFL model, and they're doing some stuff with walk-ons as well that I'm going to look into and research a little bit more. But every walk-on's getting paid, guys. They're getting free scholarships. West Virginia, one of the only universities in the country doing this right now that I can find. I went on a searching spree yesterday asking a bunch of my locked on guys, like, hey, does your guys pay your walk-ons to college, like in money form? No, nobody else is doing this. West Virginia is. What does that lead to? Well, it leads to a higher quality of walk-on, right? You're not bringing the guy that you know, it's, more like a Nate Adrian, right? Or a Hudson Clement, those type of guys that really have a shot to actually make the team, rather than the guy that is a practice player, that serves a purpose, absolutely. But there are some players that are not meant to play. They're on rosters. It happens a lot. Now there has to be a level of, okay, but can he actually play if we actually absolutely need him to? That has to be there. Like, can he fill in and we still have a shot, as long as it's just like one or two? Yeah, sure. But I think with this, like I said, West Virginia is paying the walk-ons for what we understand, and the way they're doing it is for basically paying for their school through NIL, like through the revenue sharing model. So I think that's an interesting thing. I'll tell you, oh, by the way, Kuz is the one that put me onto this. So I got to give credit to Kuz on that, because I just hadn't seen that yet. And we were talking about it yesterday. So if he does a video about that, make sure to check it out. I don't know if he had planned on it, but I do want to give him that shout out just in case he was planning on it, because he's the one that told me about it the other day. So I just want to make sure that that's on record. Yeah, but I think it's an interesting idea. I know that a few other, like I said, I've asked 4 other guys at least, and then it's not a huge sample size, so I can't say nobody else in the country's doing it, but certainly across the Big 12, it's not happening very much, if at all. So I think that's an interesting concept, man. Pay your walk-ons, and basically give them scholarships. And that's how you get guys, like I said, that maybe they would go to Group of 5 over, or Group of 5. Maybe they go Group of 5, and instead they come to here because they have the same shot, really. I mean, if you're on the field, I don't care who you are. If you're a walk-on or whoever, if you're performing every day consistently, you're going to play under Rich Rod. That's how he does it, man. So it's really, really interesting. I hope that, and I don't know the situation with like Keenan Eck or anybody like that. Like, I'm sure he has a scholarship, but he's the type of player that I look at and say, that's the kind of player that's a little under recruited, because he kind of was. So Eck was a little under recruited. If you go look at it, I felt like he deserved more. And that's, oh, by the way, let me update you guys on that. So I spoke with Keenan today after his commitment, and I forgot to tell you all what his message for the fans was. So we got to do that really quick, don't we? I forgot all about that, man. So, okay. You look at it, and he said, okay, I just want to say you're getting somebody with a chip on their shoulder every 24 is going to be a new possibility, and the grind is limitless when you have that blue-collar mentality. Hashtag make it happen. Wise words from Keenan, guys. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to Mountaineer or Locked On West Virginia. Keep coming back. I'll do a show here later if we get some news or anything like that. But other than that, I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen, and for being a part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We talk about your team, the Mountaineers, every single day. Thank you, guys. Like I said, for being here. Like, subscribe, comment, all the good stuff. And I'll see you next time. Have a great one. I'm out of here.